Hi, I'm Brintlee Burchfield. My mom was up here earlier. She's the one that owns like the big business and everything. So I'm 16 years old, haven't been driving for a year, so it's a little bit nerve-wracking talking to adults. I'm used to talking to kids more my age, but I guess I'm just going to be telling you a little bit about me. So obviously, if you were here earlier, you heard that my mom, she's been into like the mental health like professional field for quite some time, longer than since I was born. So I grew up around like knowing mental health is important. My parents, my dad's a pastor, was a pastor whenever I was born, and now they're the head pastors of their own church. And my mom, like, obviously they own a business. So I'm like set. I have amazing parents. So obviously I think I have like a pretty good grasp on mental health. And all the way, like, growing up, obviously, whenever I was younger, they kind of like instilled those like things. So I have pretty good mental health, I would say. And I kind of just assumed that everyone else my age was afforded that opportunity. Around middle school is whenever I found out that like not everybody actually takes mental health seriously, or they like may struggle with mental health issues and they just like are afraid to get help. It's not really normalized to talk about it. And like in my middle school time, which is not long ago. So me and two of my other friends, I don't know, I feel like I felt kind of bad because like a couple people would come up and talk to me. I feel like I'm a pretty approachable person, for the most part. So people would come up and talk to me about like, oh, like, hey, I don't know, I'm struggling with this. And they're like, oh my gosh, you're like a therapist. You know, like you have that friend that's like your therapist, your personal therapist, but they don't have like any schooling to back it up. That was me. So me and two other friends, we spent hours and like days writing little like quotes like, oh my gosh, you must be a camera, because every time I look at you, I smile, like a little something to like boost, like you make you happy. We wrote on sticky notes and put them on every single locker in our middle school, which is 3 stories tall. Literally, it took forever, but it was amazing. Like we walk in like the next day, we did it after school. So one day, like people just come and they see like sticky notes on their lockers, and they're like, "What? How did this get here?" And so like I don't know, because I talked to our guidance counselor, and so kind of just to help people, you know, I don't know, if someone is having suicidal thoughts, because you never know what someone's thinking. Maybe that was like their sign, like, okay, you know, someone cares about me. I don't know who it is, but someone does. Obviously, I got a sticky note on my locker, and they're all different, so it's like kind of personalized. So that was like a really big thing that I did. I felt pretty proud of that. But like I just went through like my future years. So like I skipped 7th grade, so it was like 6th grade, 8th grade. That was like my middle school years. And then in high school, I kind of just went with the flow, you know. My dad's a football coach, so I mean, and like a pastor. So I have like that, like people would just come to me, you know. And I feel like a lot of times people say, oh, send them to a trusted adult, which is like, I mean, what I would do. But it's not very easy as it sounds for people to actually talk to a trusted adult. You know, so like that puts a lot of pressure onto the person itself, like, because you know, like I don't know, like my mom's the therapist, I don't know all this stuff, so I don't know why you're coming to me, but they would. And so freshman year was whenever South Lake High School, that's what I used to go to. I went there for 9th through 11th grade. I'm a senior now at Eastridge. But they had the first year of You're Not Alone, which is like a student ambassador program for mental health people, I guess, like to spread awareness to it. So I went there. I met our mental health liaison, which is Miss Graff. I absolutely love her. And so I learned like different tips on how to like obviously send them to a trusted adult, but if they don't feel comfortable going to a trusted adult, how they could like talk to me and I could give them tips and like ways to help like make their mental health be better, I guess, like healthier or whatever. And so that's what I did. And then also sports. So one thing about me is I've done softball for so long. And then like high school, I don't know, it was like more serious, and I am not good enough to play in college. And so I was like, and my school took it very seriously. So I kind of did like multiple sports, which is kind of like sad because, I'm not the best and I don't like not being the best, but you have to look on the bright side of things. So the fact that I could do multiple sports, like every year I try to like switch it up and choose a new sport, which I'm so grateful that my parents like let me do that because I know that was like must be so aggravating trying to get like new gear and stuff. But each sport team that I'm on, I always like pray before games, or like I'm always like the team therapist, and so like spreading mental health awareness because it's more common now. I actually did a research paper on it last year on mental health. So in the late 1900s, like in the 80s and 90s and like early 2000s, mental health did have like a stigma, like, oh, you have bad mental health, you have to go speak to someone, you're like messed up in the brain, like you're messed up, and but it had like a negative connotation, like that's like embarrassing to talk about. What I know like firsthand being in the high schools is that like people talk about it more, like, man, I'm so tired. I'm like, oh, I have anxiety for this test, or like, oh, I'm so depressed all the time. They don't actually get like a diagnosis. So people are they throw it around more often. So it's kind of hard to actually pinpoint whether or not someone actually needs like, to go out and like seek and like ask them about it, which is a little bit difficult. But so the stigma, like it's not so much negative, I guess, anymore, but it's just like not as serious as it should be taken, because mental health is a big deal. Because and a lot of people, they're like, well, why do I care about mental health? But actually, mental health does correlate with physical health. And like, so if you have bad mental health, you, as she mentioned earlier, like you won't live a longer life, a healthier life, and people are like, well, I mean, I don't care. Like, I'll do what I want. Like, I'll drink alcohol, I'll do drugs, I'll do all this stuff because it's fun while I'm young. But I mean, like, what? You're only in high school for 4 years. I would rather like take my mental health seriously, take my grades seriously in the 4 years I am at high school, or the 12 years I am in school in general, than and like maybe not have as much fun, like still have a social life, but like not have as much partying fun and stuff like that. But I'll have the rest of my life to have so much fun as an adult. And obviously I'm speaking to mainly adults. But if you do know any kids or teenagers, please tell them the importance like they have speaking to people their age, because like I can do more as a student, no offense, than any of you adults could do to a teenager's life, like speaking to them, because I am their age, You know how many times like we have speakers come in as adults, and yes, you'll get a couple students that are like, okay, like I need to talk to someone, like I actually take this seriously. But whenever someone their age comes in and starts talking about it, then it's like a whole nother ball game. They're like, okay, like this is actually like okay to talk about. So for my future plans, I am tossed up between dermatology and psychology. I am leaning more towards psychology, obviously, because I think it's so interesting how the brain works. And then obviously, like helping those, someone said it earlier, speaking for those that can't speak for themselves. I think that's a big thing because, you don't know what happens behind closed doors, so just being that person for them. And then hopefully I can work for my mom if she's still doing it. But I mean, yeah, I guess that's it.